Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. The format we're going to follow today actually will be we're going to spend, discussing with the panelists over here what they think about the various facets on funding and which will achieve growth for the restaurant, food service business, and with reference to franchising. Let me start by asking, a little controversial situation today. As we enter this forum and sit down and talk, there is a lot of negativity in the environment in India. I'm not trying to discuss the macros over here, but just set the ground about how people like you, the panelists are looking at this, at any kind of funding, given the governance, rupee volatility and other things. Just a quick word from each one of you on what you think about the current mood of private equity in general. I'm private equity early stage, so you're welcome to speak about it. I'm going to start with Rahul.
Private equity professionals, just like everybody else in this country, is also trying to get its bearings and understand and make sense of what's happening around it. And in that sense, I think there is a certain risk averseness which is setting in. The bullishness which was there some time back, that's not there so much, and their own funding lines are constrained because of returns not being forthcoming. So I do see a certain conservatism setting in, and that's going to be there till the market stabilizes.
I would agree with Rahul that there is a conservatism around the table, which in my mind translates to lower valuation to some extent. But as a fund, we are quite bullish, and given that we take a 7-8 year view, we try not to get influenced by short-term market conditions. So we feel very bullish, and if you saw, the BCG presentation, long-term food industry, dining out, demographic, two-income family, I think a lot of trends which point towards growth in this industry. So we stay bullish and look for very good quality entrepreneurs.
Angel investing is kind of a new concept in India, and I guess it exists on a kind of informal level when you're part of a business family and you have an uncle who invests in your business. But the idea of a perfect stranger coming and taking an interest in your company when it's at a very early stage, at a fledgling stage, is novel. And really, the amount of angel investing happening in India is basically a kind of a rounding error. And if it didn't exist, we would really not be much worse off because it's so small today. In America, for example, there are over 300 angel groups. That means more than 300 networks of angel investors. 250,000 people in the United States are angel investors. That means 250,000 people have invested in a startup in America in the last 1 or 2 years. In India, there are not 300 angel networks. There are maybe 3, maybe there's 4, I'm not sure. And instead of 250,000 or 2.5 lakh, angel investors, we might have 250. And most of them are members of 1 or 2 of the network. So we have a situation now that if you have an idea and you want to scale up, you can go to SIDBI, right? But even SIDBI, I know it's not easy to get an unsecured loan. It's tough. You have to give personal guarantees generally. So an angel investor is someone who really doesn't look for any personal guarantees, someone who believes in you and is going to invest. Maybe when you go to a group, an angel group, you might raise a couple of crores. It's not a huge amount of money, but it's enough to get you to a stage when maybe a venture capital firm would invest. So that's kind of a background on angel investing in India.
Ranjit, the question to you is, would you be open to looking at investment situations today in this current environment?
Yeah, definitely. We're running something called the Startup India Challenge, which some of you may have seen on CNBC. There's a program called Young Turks. So we're actually in the midst of sifting through over 400 applications. We've narrowed it down to about 54, and on September 20th, the final group of 25 is going to present, and we have a great group of judges, including Ashish Dhawan, who you may know, who's a well-known venture capitalist, Lok Capital, which is another venture capital fund, which is an institutional member of ours. So we're, which industry is growing at 15-20%, right, in India today?
Fair. I'll revisit the industry and the perspective in a bit. I'll go to Harsh. Harsh, you're the only banker over here. You're the guys who provide the debt. What's your outlook today on the market? And I'm talking with reference to just your general outlook, just to set the tone for this audience.
Market is generally depressed these days, but the sector which we deal in, which is the MSME, micro, small and medium enterprises, there I think that they are doing better than the large scale industry, which the normal industry is doing. And here they get affected because if the auto industry is not doing, the auto components manufacturers also suffer. But by and large, I find that there's a lot of demand for capital even at this stage, especially from the smaller units. So I think
So as a lender, how are you looking at it? Are you looking at proposals and extending yourself? I'm told a lot of banks have shut their lending books.
No, we have not shut at all. We are very open. In fact, yesterday we signed a MOU with the Franchise Association of India. And SIDBI's main focus is to venture into areas where the banks fear to tread because there is no hard collateral available. So
Very interesting. I'll hold you on that. Harsh tells us he's open for funding on his side. Hemendra, at your end, are you finding your clients or other people looking at investment proposal at this stage?
Yeah, we are evaluating quite a few investment. We are also dedicated to the food and agribusiness sector. And we do invest in a lot of companies which are suppliers to food services. So we are more bullish on upstream part of food value chain, I would say, than the downstream part. And typically, as the front end grows, the back end and the food
So
value
you're
chain.
finding an opportunity in the adversity of the market.
Of course, we have to
Okay.
keep looking for it. Yeah.